I was a boxer puncher. I didn't believe in leading with your chin and blocking with your head. I learned from the best. And when I say the best, I'm speaking of Archie Moore, Charlie Burley, Rusty Payne, James J. Washington. This is a picture that I'm looking at now, the Main Street Gym. Suey Welch, my manager's putting on my gloves for a training session.
Tell me about your manager.
I didn't have any problems. I thought Suey was a great person. He was from the old school, but I was not the type of guy that scratched his head and did a soft shoe. I said it, and whether you liked it or not, and I stood by it. Suey used to get perturbed at me sometime, and he said, "You're a temperamental son of a bitch." I said, "Whatever I am, I am." Here's a picture of some of the greatest guys that were in my career. Gorilla Jones, former middleweight champion of the world. You had my manager, Suey Welch, and Duke Holloway, one of your great cornermen in boxing. Duke Holloway was probably one of the most colorful. They called him Duke because he wore a derby in the ring and always had a cigar. Here's a picture in my 49er days, in my 49er uniform. We were taking team photos that day. I was sitting out on my front porch playing a C melody sax, and I could just about play all of Sentimental Journey, and I saw this gold Cadillac drove up with the top down, a very distinguished gentleman with silver hair got out and walked up on the porch and says, "Excuse me, can you tell me where Charlie Powell is?" I said, "You're talking to him." And he introduced himself as Buck Shaw, the coach of the San Francisco 49ers, and I didn't believe that. And he asked me, had I ever thought of playing professional football? I could run exceptionally for a big guy. I could beat most people. I don't care what they did. I could run. So all of these things, the coaches were watching this. And when the time came in, the veterans came into camp. I remember they lined me up against Namalini one-on-one, and I'm scared as hell, and the thing we hit, it was just like two rhinoceros hitting head on, and after that first hit, did nothing happen. I did it again, did nothing happen. I said, "Oh, and then I said, well, hell, I looked to see if anything was broke on me. And right then, my confidence started coming up. I said, these guys are no different than, and I started looking. And then the advantage that I had on them, I could beat them with quickness, speed. That's something can't nobody teach you. You either got it or you don't have it. I threw Bobby Lane and the backup quarterback for a total of 67 yards in losses. Now, they weren't keeping the records the way they do it now, but it's on film and the whole bit, and nobody's never come close to it. This is Joe Perry, Hall of Famer, San Francisco 49ers. Uh, Joe and I were roommates because at that time, uh, we were the only two blacks on the 49ers. Joe was senior. He was the first. Uh, I'll always remember I'd won all of my fights, and I think I had about 10 straight knockouts. They put me on national TV, fought Charlie Narcus. Joe's in my corner. First round, towards the end of the round, I hit Narcus on top of the head, knocked him to a knee, knocked him down, and the bell rang. And I go back to the corner, and my knuckle was knocked back up in my hand. I broke my hand, the right hand. So he says, they had him in my corner. and the panic had set in then, all right? And I'm saying, shit, my hand's broke, you know, I said, my hand's broke, and he's saying, relax. I said, how the hell I'm gonna relax when my hand broke, you know? But anyway, went out, and the fight went on. I was ahead. I get knocked down two or three times. But I remember when I went down one time, I looked up the referee. When I picked up the count, it was 4. I said, what the hell's going on? You know, and went on. I got knocked down again and got up. And anyway, the referee stopped the fight in the 7th round. I've always been very competitive. If you ask me a question or can you do this, people used to say, can you do this? I said, I don't know, I've never tried, but I would always try it. And damn near anything in sports that I tried, I was right at the top in it, bar none. I don't care what it was, okay? I could do it good enough to compete with the best in the business. That was just a thing that I was blessed with, you know. So I enjoyed it. I fought Narcus again in San Diego and beat him in a 10-round decision.
That make you feel better?
Somewhat, not really. Here's a picture, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Joe Velo, who had Gus Lesnovich, who was light heavyweight champ of the world, working my corner. And this other fellow here is from San Juan, Puerto Rico. His name was Rodriguez. I fought Floyd Patterson down there. And I think it was 7th round. I lost to him. Knockout, I stopped. That's Jersey Joe Walcott, the referee. And he's asking me, how do you feel? I said, what difference does it make? We laughed about that later.
Tell me about the fight there. What fight was that?
Floyd Patterson, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Tell me about the fight. What happened?
Fight was all right, but there's a lot of things I can't tell you on that tape, and I refuse. The fight was nice.
Let me ask you this.
What?
You said there's some things that you don't want to talk about.
There's certain things I will not talk. I would not talk about.
Yeah, why wouldn't? Can you answer why wouldn't you talk about it? Because it puts people down. That will be my question.
Man, there's no such thing as excuses. You don't make no excuses. I've always believed there's no such thing as excuses. And to say why, like you see a lot of guys go out and they say, well, so and so and so and so, I did this, or this is why I lost. That's a bunch of bullshit. You know, things happen.
Okay.
You got it? A lot of times after football was over, when I kind of got fed up with it, and there were certain things that I didn't like, I quit. I go back and box. Boxing, with certain things that I didn't feel that was right, then and I wasn't going to do it, I would go back and play football.
Have you ever been knocked out?
No. It may be in the book, in your book is being knocked out. You know what knockout is? Knockout is when you get where you can't get up, so that could go down, you know, as a knockout. But to be knocked out, I've never been knocked out where I didn't know nothing about it. A lot of your sports writers, they wanted the way they would write about you. If you were black, it was like stereotype person. And I resented the hell out of it. I told her, and I would say something about it. A lot of times I said, so bitch wrote. Gorilla Jones used to always tell me, says, He always called me Champ. He says, Champ, let me tell you. He says, don't get excited and don't raise no hell with those guys. He said, as long as they spell your name right, let it say. He said, when they stop writing about you, you're in trouble. This was by a guy by the name of Clint Wilson. Why did Powell quit football? But nobody never asked me. They wrote the story. They didn't really know.
Yeah, what is your story? What is the real story?
My story? Well, I was at the time when I was playing ball. So I come along 5 years after Jackie Robinson, and a lot of places that we would go with the team that we couldn't play. I mean, we could play, but we couldn't stay in the hotel with the team. Like Baltimore, 1956, we always had to stay with a doctor, a private, which was one way I looked at it. Hell, we didn't have no bed check, and wasn't nobody watching you. We had a chance to move around, but I looked at it and I said, if this is what it is, and then you play, you get your ass busted up, because wasn't no such thing as sit on the bench. You damn near had to play, hurt, cripple, whatever. And during the off season, you had to do something, and all the good jobs they give to the white ball players. And you bullshit, you could hawk cars on the corner and different things. That wasn't my bag. There was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't stealing. It was something honest, but that wasn't my cup of tea. And
So what'd you do, box? On the off season?
I would go back and box. You know, sports, it's all competitive. And if you like to compete, I like to compete. I didn't give a damn if it was getting down out there, street shooting marbles. I like to compete, you know. And, you know, you hear a lot of people say, well, it's a business. But hell, I guess it was still, and it was a tough business, but to me, it was like playing, you know, having fun. I didn't never hold no grudge against none of the guys. I used to see guys say, son of a so-and-so and so-and-so. Hell, it was fun. The guy, when he come out of here, I'd walk over, shake hands with him, and say, see you next time. Well, let's do it again, or whatever. And I enjoyed all of it.